What's up there, Stella students? Jacob Burton here from culinary.com. Check out the new digs. You like it? Got plenty of drinks going on here. Hey, so in this video, we're going to start our sauce making series, okay? And look, this is what you need to understand when it comes to taking your cooking to the next level. Anyone can grill a steak using a probe thermometer, hit mid-rare. It doesn't take a genius to do it, okay? A lot of times, what sets apart professional cooks from amateur cooks is their ability to make some really awesome sauces. And if you're a professional cook that can't make awesome sauces, then you may as well just be a home cook. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with being a home cook, right? But you're getting paid, for Christ's sakes, to make great food, and you can't even make a great sauce. What's with that? All right, so enough yelling. In this first video, we gotta lay a foundation, we gotta lay a framework. So I'm gonna talk to you about the 5 French mother sauces. Now look, this is some really old school stuff here, admittedly so. But if you go to any sort of Western culinary school today, that's still based on classic cuisine, meaning their curriculum is based on European cuisine, mainly French cuisine, really. They're gonna talk to you about the 5 French mother sauces, and quite frankly, a lot of their core curriculum on sauce making is gonna come from these mother sauces. Now, what's with these mother sauces, right? What's the deal? Why do they even exist? Well, in the 17th century, you had a guy by the name of Carême, and he was really the guy to get the ball rolling with French cuisine. Before that, you had this sort of mishmash of European cuisine where all the spices or all the meats were heavily spiced. There wasn't a whole lot of differentiation. There wasn't a whole lot of finesse. So Carême comes along. He starts cooking for a bunch of rich people, dukes, kings, queens, and they love him. They love this guy. And a large part of it has to do with the fact that he really redefined French cuisine, making things, even though in Carême's time, looking back now, his food was still very heavy, but he made things less heavily spiced, had a little bit more finesse to his cooking, and he laid out the codification of French cuisine, part of which was his 4 French mother sauces. And those 4 French mother sauces were Espagnole, Velouté, Allemande, and Bechamel. Now, really the purpose of this codification and of having base sauces, or what you call mother sauces, and don't worry, we'll talk more in a second, like what these actually are, but the purpose of this is in Carême's time, that's when they started first really like throwing the fat banquets and the parties and, laying out multi-course menus. And to get that done, you needed a framework. And Carême couldn't do it by himself. He had to instruct other people on how to make these sauces, on how to make these dishes. So by having a sauce framework, we're saying, hey, we have these 4 main base sauces that are pretty simple, and we understand the technique to make them. Now, we can take a bunch of other secondary flavor components, add them to these base sauces, and make derivative sauces that are going to allow us to execute a large multi-course dinner or a large multi-course banquet where it seems like we're making custom sauces for all these different dishes, but really they're all based on one of 4 sauces. Now, in admittedly oversimplified terms, sauce espagnole is just a brown stock thickened with a brown roux. Velouté is a white stock thickened with a white roux. Allemande is a white stock base that has white wine in it and is traditionally thickened with what's called a liaison, so it's egg yolks and cream whisked together. And bechamel is a milk-based sauce that's thickened with a white roux. Now, again, there's other small flavor components in this and a process that goes in depth, but this is just an overview video. So I wanted you to grasp the general concept of these 4 mother sauces that later became the 5 mother sauces when Escoffier came along. Now, Escoffier looked at this lineup and he's like, cool, Espagnole, brown stock, brown roux, Velouté, white stock, white roux, Allemande. Well, Allemande's kind of a bit like the Velouté. It's pretty damn close. And you have Bechamel, which is milk thickened with roux. So what Escoffier said is, you know what? I'm just going to make Allemande a derivative sauce of Velouté. And I'm going to add to this list of Espagnole, Velouté, Bechamel, sauce tomate, and hollandaise. Now, as previously touched upon in this video, the predominant thickener of that day was a roux, and roux is equal parts flour and butter cooked together, so there's no longer a raw flour taste. Now, some people nitpick and they do a 9 to 8 or a 7 to 9 or an 8 to whatever. Some in traditional cooking, you would use clarified butter, not whole butter. Different strokes for different folks, whoever blows your apron up. But the deal is, a roux is flour and butter that's cooked together, and this does two things. Number one, it cooks out the raw flour flavor. Number two, it coats the starch in that flour in fat. So when you add it to your water and you whisk it in, you stir it in, it doesn't clump up. If you ever just take a handful of raw flour and throw it into a soup and try and thicken it, you're gonna have a bad time. You're gonna have clumps. So that's the purpose of a roux, is to thicken a soup, and you cook it with the fat so it doesn't clump, and you also cook out that raw flour flavor. As you continue to cook the roux and it goes through white, golden brown, or yellow roux stage, all the way into a dark golden brown stage like you use in Espanol, you'll have different nutty aromas that are also imparted into that sauce. So just to review, again, Espanol was brown stock plus brown roux. Veloute was white stock plus white roux. Bechamel was white stock plus white roux. And sauce tomate was tomato product with ham product that was usually reduced. And hollandaise was egg yolks thickened with clarified butter. Now again, this is just an oversimplification of Carême's mother sauces and Escoffier's mother sauces, because I want you to have a broad overview of what the mother sauces are, because again, we're laying a foundation. This is just step one in learning how to make awesome sauces. Now for some of you, all of this will be review, which is why I'm blowing through this. If it's not review for you and you want to dive deeper, and yes, you should dive deeper, the Stella Culinary School podcast has a 5-part series. Each audio series in that 5-part series covers one of these sauces. We go through how to make it, we go through its derivatives, the secondary sauces, so you can really dive in deep. I wanted you to just get an understanding and maybe have a quick refresher course if you already know the mother sauces, so we can lay a foundation moving forward. So again, the whole purpose of these sauces was to create a framework upon which other sauces would be built. So you take something like bechamel, which is milk thickened with white roux, you add in some cheese and some other flavorings, now you have Mornay. And Mornay is a cheese sauce that is used in macaroni and cheese, can be used for any number of items. If you just want a cheese sauce, Mornay is usually the go-to. Hollandaise, you add in some tarragon and some chervil, all of a sudden you have Béarnaise, which goes on asparagus and steak sauces alike. Espanol, you reduce that down. That's how you get your sauce roberts. That's how you get your traditional demi-glace. All right, and so the problem with these 5 French mother sauces, though, even though they're super important to understand, is that you go to culinary school and they say, hey, we're going to teach you how to make sauces, and you're going to memorize how to make these sauces, which quite frankly are kind of boring. I mean, you should understand what they are, but quite frankly, they're pretty boring. And then we're going to give you a test. And on that written test is you have to list and know all of these different derivative sauces that are classified under each sauce. And, some guy one day decided he's going to take veloute, add in some fresh herbs, add in some bone marrow, maybe add in some snails, name it after some French duke's favorite poodle, and boom, now you got a secondary sauce that 100 years later, some kid in culinary school is just banging his head against his desk to try and memorize. And what this does, unfortunately, is it makes you miss the forest for the trees, right? So while you're looking at all these different secondary sauces and trying to remember what ingredients go into what secondary sauce and what mother sauce that secondary sauce is spawned from, you're missing the point of this whole thing, which is a framework for creating a multitude of sauces. But it's important to understand the 5 French mother sauces. That's why I'm doing this overview video, and that's why I took the time to do a massive resource page, including 5 audio episodes on the 5 French mother sauces, and you can find that at stellaculinary.com/mother. However, in my next video, we're going to get into the method that I developed for teaching sauces at my culinary boot camps and stripping all this away, stripping sauce making down to the bare essentials, and then building back up from there, which will give you, once you understand those building blocks, you'll really, with a little bit of practice, be able to make any sauce that you want. Now, an important component in that building block is understanding flavor structure, which I mentioned in my last lecture video. So if you haven't already, please go to stellaculinary.com and download my F is for Flavor PDF, which is available to you for free. It's the first section of my F-Step curriculum, and you have to understand flavor structure before you can start talking about sauces, before you can start talking about composing your own dishes, which is where I eventually want to get all of you. If you really love to cook, I want to release your own creativity, because I don't need a bunch of me's running around. I already cook like me, you know? I cook really good like me. I want you to cook like you. And the way that you're going to be able to cook like you is by taking the information that I give you and that other resources give you and making it your own. And the way that you do that is by stripping away everything else and saying, okay, what are the fundamentals? What are the base building blocks? So sauces are going to be a very important part of your repertoire of becoming a great cook or a great chef. But first, you need to understand flavor structure. So head on over to stellaculinary.com and download our free PDF, F is for Flavor. And then in our next video, I'm going to talk to you about how we take those building blocks of flavor structure, paint them over a few basic techniques for sauce making, and make you a sauce making G, yo. All right, so I'll see you guys in the next video.